We'll call the City Council regular meeting to order for Monday, April 17th, 2023. Would everyone please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Call the roll, please.
Mayor Hoyt.
Here.
Councilmember Bernance.
Here.
Councilmember Lean.
Here.
Councilmember Wilson.
Here.
Councilmember Porter.
Here.
All right. Any changes to the agenda? Holly, Nick, Leah?
No.
Katie, Steve,
None.
Lynn?
I have one change where I'd like to move 9:11 on the consent agenda under new business to 12.2.
Okay, thank you. If there's no other changes to the agenda, we would look for a motion to approve as amended.
Motion.
Motion by Steve, second by Katie. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, on to item 5, which is our announcements and our commendations. Under agenda item number 5, we have 2 proclamations. The proclamations are for April 2023 to be proclaimed as Fair Housing Month. Under the 2023 Fair Housing Month proclamation, this is accompanied inside of the agenda packet for this evening. The St. Paul Area Association of Realtors is a professional organization of over 8,000 realtors. They had brought forth a proclamation, essentially saying that within the city of Farmington that we proclaim that we don't have any acts that show discrimination, that we practice fair standards, and that we don't take any actions that would involve zoning and or establishing districts that would be as discrimination against or on the basis of race, color, religion, sex, family status, sexual orientation, national origin, and disability, and provide equal housing opportunities for all. The second proclamation, as noted in the agenda under item 5.2, is the Arbor Day Proclamation. We would be proclaiming that Wednesday, April 26, 2023 is Arbor Day, and I believe Kelly will have some notes or some events that we have planned for that day in our community. But again, historically, we do the Arbor Day Proclamation as a tree city in the state of Minnesota. So both of those items you will find in the agenda as proclamations for the month of April. Moving on to citizens' comments, which is item number 6. If there are any citizens or residents in attendance that would like to speak at this time, we reserve this for your opportunity. All right, seeing none, we would move on to item number 9, which is our consent agenda. And I look for a motion to approve the consent agenda as amended.
Motion.
Motion by Holly.
Second.
Second by Nick. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Moving right along, we'll go to number 10, which is our petitions. Agenda item number 10.1 is a request for a comprehensive plan amendment to re-guide PUD from park open space to low density residential. And Jared, you have this one.
Thank you, Mayor, City Council members. The request before you tonight is for a comprehensive plan amendment for a parcel up located next to 19927 Aiken Road. The applicant is Jacob Steen on behalf of Carrie Hannafil, who is the property owner. As well, she owns 19927 Aiken Road. As you can see on the map, 19927 Aiken Road abuts Aiken Road, and the subject parcel tonight is located adjacently to the west. This comprehensive plan amendment is to re-guide this parcel from park open space to low density residential. The owner is looking to eventually combine and subdivide both properties into 3 separate buildable lots. There's a sketch plan in your packet that the Planning Commission did review at their February meeting. The review of the subdivision will occur at a later date and is not a part of your the current request tonight. So this parcel is 3.24 acres, steep slopes, heavily wooded, and it was platted as Outlot D in the Vermilion Grove subdivision to the west. It is surrounded by park wetlands to the west and then 19927 Aiken Road to the east. It's currently zoned for R1 low density residential, but it's guided for park open space. And 19927 Aiken Road is zoned R1 and guided for low density residential. So both of these parcels need to be guided for low density residential before any subdivision can occur. Staff does support this request as it will align with 19927 Aiken Road in terms of zoning and its future land use, regardless if the subdivision does occur. As you can see down below in the future 2040 future land use map, outlined in green is the park open space parcel, and then directly to the east is 19927 Aiken Road, which is guided for low density residential. The Planning Commission did hold a public hearing on this last week. There were no public comments, and the Commission did recommend the City Council approve the amendment by a vote of 4-0. So the request before you guys tonight is to approve the requested comprehensive plan amendment and the attached resolution to re-guide this parcel from park open space to low density residential. And the applicants are in the room tonight too if you have any questions for them.
Thank you, sir. Steve, any questions?
I do not, other than, is there a trail adjacent to this area, or is there no development?
It's to the trails to the north.
Trails to the north, okay, thanks, Nick. I'm good.
Katie?
I don't have any questions. I was able to watch the Planning Commission meeting and I appreciated their discussion on it. So with no further public comment, I don't have any questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Holly?
No questions.
Nick?
I luckily already kind of harassed you before this, but my concern was the wetland buffer and how far that was set back from the property land. I live pretty close to there, so it's deceiving on where the boundary actually lies, because if you look at the satellite picture, it's, the cattails stop and what's considered wetland, so we don't encroach any rules of the Wetland Conservation Act. But I think you kind of satisfactorily answered that there is a 75-foot setback there, so. And then behind that is that fairly large hill that would probably be difficult to develop on anyway, right? So there's a pretty ample space there that you won't get a lot of disruption in the native habitat that's right there. So that basically absolves my concerns on that one, so I appreciate it.
The only question I had is in regards to the wetland buffer, if it is not currently posted and or staked per the lat longs, that in the event of a development, that it will be marked to preserve, and I mean, I know the plat has the lats longs and stuff on it, but if we don't have the signs out there to put them there, because we do have ordinances about how to, or what can and cannot be done within those buffers, so.
Right, and I'm sure we can do that when they move forward the platting process, we can put that in there as a condition of approval.
All right, thank you. Without any other comment then, I would look for a motion to approve the requested comprehensive plan amendment and attach resolution to re-guide parcel ID 14-82500-00-040, legally described as Outlot D, Vermilion Grove, from park open space to low density residential.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Katie, second by Steve. Call the roll, please.
Councilmember Bernance? Yes. Councilmember Lean?
Yes.
Councilmember Wilson?
Yes.
Councilmember Porter?
Yes.
Mayor Hoyt?
Yes. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on to new business, we'll go to item 12.1 under Park and Recreation Department's 2022 annual report.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. We're excited to be here tonight to present the 2022 Annual Parks and Recreation Report. We're going to go over a few accomplishments the department had over the past year. With me tonight, I have Missy Colbeck, one of the Recreation Supervisors, and Jeremy Peer, Parks and Facilities Supervisor. I want to thank Missy for putting the annual report together. We thought it turned out really awesome, thanks to her. We just provide her with the information, some of the pictures, and she takes it from there. So thank you, Missy, for all your time and efforts on this project. So we celebrated a milestone in 2022. Dan Theobor celebrated his 35th year anniversary as a full-time employee with the city of Farmington. He was hired as the second full-time park maintenance worker for the city. So 35 years later, he's still here. A couple of his highlights he mentioned to Missy over his career was he got to help put the trout beds in at Rambling River Park. If you were out in the park last year, the water was really low. You could see the trout beds there. So that was one of the things he really appreciated doing. Also, he was one of the first people that got to go on the target field outfield and a tour of the field when it was being built, because it was part of a course he was in. So Dan has seen many different changes throughout the city and the department over his tenure, but we wanted to celebrate his 35th anniversary, and we hope for 35 more for him. So congratulations to Dan. Don't tell him I told them that. And then welcoming new staff this year. Thank you again to City Council for authorizing 2 full-time new park maintenance workers in 2022. Austin started in June of 2022. He worked for the City of Eagan as a seasonal maintenance worker prior to coming here. And then John, he started in November of 22. He worked for the City of Apple Valley and Cottage Grove. Both have been great assets to the department, great workers, ask lots of questions, pitch in, help. So we've been really fortunate to get both of those guys. And then Emily Shear, she joined us full-time in August. She had worked on and off for us as a seasonal worker for 10 years. That picture there was probably when Emily was 15 or 16. We hired her when she was 15. The little girl sitting on Emily's lap is Cindy and Dave McMillan's daughter, who also worked for us for a number of years and just celebrated her 21st birthday. So that picture makes me feel real old. But Emily's done a great job for us as well. We look forward to her coming back soon. But the 3 of them have been great assets to our team, and we look for them staying with us for many, many years.
Community partnerships is a huge part of Farmington Parks and Recreation. A former council member asked me when she was meeting with staff, what's one word to describe Farmington? And immediately generous jumped to my mind, and that fit for a few years ago. It fit for 28 years ago when it started, and it still fits for now. We are very blessed to have all of those folks listed there, all those businesses, all those individuals donate time, talent, and muscles to us to get things done here in the city of Farmington. What's really fun about these pictures is most of these programs are new. The first one is Literacy Night, and we hadn't done that. That one's old, but we hadn't done that. The picture's not old, but Literacy Night is an older event. I should clarify that. We hadn't been able to do that because of COVID, so this is the first time that we were back, was 2022, and it's a really fun night where we are at the schools for Literacy Night, and we play little games with them and then promote all of our camps and programs for the summer. The food truck event is a new one that Kelly and Emily have been working with Empire Township. The spring one here you can see was fabulous turnout and a lot of fun. The fall one, not so good. It rained and it was cold and yucky out. The next picture is a brand new one this past year, 22, Storytime in the Park with the libraries. And it was really fun, and a ton of people came out to walk our trails and read a story. Marshall Bus Line just took charge at all of our music and movie and the park events by face painting and offering tours of the bus and giving away free popcorn. So that was a fun deal. And Muddy Waters. So they've been in town for a couple years now, and the seniors have done a few programs with them, but Emily really did a lot of programming with them this year. It's been very successful. The classes were full with waiting lists, and we're hoping that they're full with waiting lists again for the summer.
Some of our capital improvements, thank you for that this past year. We were able to purchase several pieces of equipment, and they'll definitely be helpful coming in the future. We got a spreader. We bought used from the city of Lakeville. Could use that to spread fertilizer, sand, dirt on the ball fields, try to level them out. Big piece of equipment that we got was the forestry mulcher that we'll use to cut the willows down and the buckthorn. It works great. You can drive right through the brush and it just drops it right below it as mulch. It doesn't, the one we had before would throw the stuff like a grenade going off. So that's been awesome. Tool cats we use in the winter. Plowing snow in the summer, they use them with the bucket attachment and the forks. Put a new dump box on our dump truck. The garbage truck that we got has been great. Guys go out and do a garbage run, back it up to a dumpster, lift it up, everything falls in there, take to the wash bay, rinse it out, park it, and it's ready for next week or the next time we're gonna do a garbage run, so that's been awesome. Gator, we use that mostly in the summer, watering the flowers downtown and all the baskets. The mower we got last summer, the groundsmaster replaced a gang mower that we had. The gang mower is basically, we had a tractor to pull behind, and when you pull straight out, you'd have to do a big circle and come back. Didn't get to use it a ton last summer, obviously, as it was so dry, but that should really make us more efficient. Should cut down the mowing time. When they gave it to us for a week, we were able to mow the parks in like 3 days. Send usually 2 mowers out to go trim everything out. With this thing being able to cut us tight around everything, we're hoping to be able to just have one person doing that, and everybody else can be working on something else. Parks and trails. Some of the improvements we made. The Flagstaff Meadows Master Plan. We did the Arbor Day at Prairie Pines. The trail replacement at Mystic Meadows. They put in a root barrier too, so looking forward to, hopefully there won't be any willows growing into that trail. But I know that we've talked to other communities and that's worked well for them, and hopefully that we'll be able to continue to do that in the future. Fishing pier, we made improvements at the Lake and Julia dock and Prairie View. Both entrances were kind of not level. We leveled them out so they had access to them, replaced all the boards on the decks. The bridges at by the ice arena and Kucher's entrance, we raised the railings up. I believe it's 48 inches that they have to be. We did the one at Rambling River the previous summer. We painted all 3 of them. That turned out pretty good. And then the Sunny Hills Playground was completed. And then also over the winter, we flooded the elementary school rink, Farmington Elementary. They were real thankful this winter. They run events out there. We brought some benches and some nets, and we got letters from the kids and for the parks guys and stuff, and that was great to see, to have the appreciation of that. Ice arena, first picture we have there. Didn't make too many improvements at the rink, but we did buy a skate sharpener last summer. What's great about that, seasonal kids working on the weekends, they can put a skate in, hit a button, sharpens the skate. There's no adjustments or any tuning that they need to do to the machine. So they pretty much come out perfect every time. Had the east parking lot and the west parking lots. The east one was paved and the west one was redone. Gonna start that project up here pretty quick. It'll be nice once we get some lines in there, and then we get the drop off in the front too. That'll take some pressure off the west parking lot. A lot of people come in there, and this winter was without lines. It was kind of jungled, but it'll work out really well. Building maintenance. Ted's been going through fire station, police station, city hall, senior center. He did some at the ice arena a couple weeks ago, replacing the light bulbs with LED light bulbs. They repainted the conference room at 170, and we dug a trench at the fire station. They put up camera there.
Parks and Rec continues to offer sports for all ages. We find our heaviest involvement in little kids, the little ones, as you see the little guy with the football. Also, kind of a fun thing that was brought back this year for the first time in maybe 5 or 6 years was the opportunity to pie your coach in the face. If you were able to throw so many T-balls into the big 5-gallon pail, your throw and your arm was that good that you got the number of balls in there needed, you got to pie your coach in the face. And it's a big challenge and a lot of fun for those little ones. So we'll keep that around. Also in recreation, this just continues to show our partnerships. We partner with the library, as I mentioned before, on the story trails, but also story time in the park and the geocaching event. We partner with our own fire department and police department to put on safety camp. You can see the Farmington ambassadors partnering with us at our Little Princess camp. The teenagers aren't really partnering with us. They're just watching. They don't want to participate, but they didn't want to go away either. They were invited several times to play and they didn't want to play, but they sat and watched. So that was all good. And then we have a picture of how fun it is to work for us at the Puppet Wagon. So tell all of your neighbors and kids and anybody who's 15 and older to apply for us. Those are two of our summer staff from last year doing puppet shows. I work a lot of special events, and so does Emily. You can see Kiss the Pig there, which is a favorite in town. I was just so enamored with Storytime. You get another picture of Storytime in the park. It's just so much fun. The Little Tiger Pep Fest is always a big event. The Halloween Walk, and of course the Secret Holiday Shop. And this year we had the entire girls basketball team from the high school volunteer. How wonderful is that? Some other special events include our Trains and Treats, of course, our movies and music in the park, our party in the park, and our pond and park cleanup. Oh, I thought I was done. Yeah, you won. Rambling River Center. I love the Rambling River Center. This picture on the left is probably one of the last Fun Fridays we were able to do before our bus was pulled. We're looking forward to that new van. Thank you to everyone who so generously donated. It is paid for. You'll hear more about that next year because it got paid for. The last amount got paid for in 23. We got new railings, which, they don't look all that fabulous in the picture, but they're a big deal. We like our new railings. We also are very excited about the generous donation from Minnesota Landscape. I'm going to say it wrong and I don't have my Minnesota Nice Landscape. They donated all the landscaping, so all the boulders, the rock, the tree, and then we had the bench put in honor of our 40th anniversary. And you can see some folks enjoying our 40th anniversary there. Our advisory board did a fantastic job with all the fun events, and thank you all for coming over to that, enjoying lunch and celebrating with us. And our big donation for 2022 was the $16,000 from Midwest Bank for the new van.
So there were a lot of successes in 22. We did have some challenges and opportunities as well. Graffiti is a ongoing challenge for us. We're putting cameras in prime locations in the parks, and with the Wi-Fi build out, that will really help us have better eyes on the park. We knocked down the bathhouse at Evergreen Knoll Park. We have some work out there left to do, but with that coming down, it sure opens that space and would be great for some new amenities in that park. We started the Jim Bell Park and Preserve master planning process. Halfway through the process, we switched gears and thought we better look at our current park system and what we need to do to bring that up to speed. Look at the master plans that haven't been completed and look at aging structures, whether it's playground equipment, shelters, trails, basketball pads, tennis courts, etc. So moved in a little bit different direction there. And then Emerald Ash Borer. We've talked about that over the last few months. We have 117 turf area park trees that do have emerald ash borer. That's just areas within the park that could be in the way of the park, not on the trails or in the wooded areas. We did treat some of the trees last year. We did take some down, and we'll continue to do that as well as we go forward. The Rambling River Center Advisory Board and the Parks and Recreation Commission, we can't say enough about those two groups of people. They are very helpful. They have great ideas. They're there for the betterment of the center and the department. Nobody has a vested interest in one thing. So thank you to the Rambling River Center Advisory Board and the Parks and Recreation Commission for all their work over 2022. All the members of the Rambling River Center Advisory Board are the same as in 22. And the only change in 23 was Betsy Koss went off the commission, but did serve 2 terms. So thank you to all of them who have served. And we'd be happy to answer any questions you have. Sorry, Steve, you didn't make the picture there.
Oh, that's okay.
Next year.
Nick, questions or comments?
I was just very happy to see how you guys put this together again. I remember my first one last year. What I think I like about this most is if you look at the year over year, it looks like almost every program is doing well on the upside. So whatever you guys are doing seems to be working at drawing them in, and hope that trend kind of continues. Don't be surprised if I come to call for that buckthorn chipper.
Holly?
Yeah, this is the first annual report that I've had the opportunity of sitting on this side of. But I will say that the Parks and Trail system was one of the primary reasons that we selected Farmington as our home back in 2012. And so I love seeing how the services that you offer and the programs that you offer are things that really connect with families from little all the way to, full grown into, adulthood and then again with our seniors, right? So it's just fantastic that we've got such a well-developed and fruitful program. So thanks for that.
Yeah, Missy, you did a fabulous job. As I was scrolling through this, I almost text Kelly, and good thing I didn't because you did it. But you may
They
have
should
missed
get all the credit.
You may have missed your calling in marketing and advertising because this is, the timelines. I'm a very visual learner, so this is fantastic. I really appreciate it. Yeah, thank you to all of you for all the work that you do. This is one of the most visible departments. No offense to any of the rest of you because you all work very hard, but one of the most visible departments in our community, and one of the ways that we really get to flourish, and I just love it. And thank you to the advisory board, Rambling River Center, and Parks and Rec Commission. We very much appreciate all the work they do for the community. And Steve also made sure to enlarge that bottom picture so that I could see that he was not in it. I think that's what you were doing. So maybe next year, maybe throw him in there somewhere so that yeah. Thank you.
Steve?
No, actually, I enlarged the picture because you don't like looking at yourself in the picture.
Yep, thanks for bringing that up.
I've seen this report before, and it's so fun to see it every year. And the common theme is just, it's people, either, from your team creating the programming, making the parks look great, to our residents who want to engage, and for you guys creating programs that make them excited to participate, old and young, and of course our boards and commissions. So there's so many different people at so many different levels, and it's really the only department where there's just an intersection of generation, a diversity of people, probably a diversity of programs and ideas, and you guys never cease to amaze me. I guess the only ask is to continue to push the envelope a little bit higher and make sure that you're all continuing to let us know as a council what you need and how we can support you. So that's all I have.
Yeah, Kelly, Missy, and Jeremy, the entire team really supports one of the primary reasons that people choose to call Farmington home. Whether it's the Parks and Trails, the programming, the Rambling River Center Board, people find reasons to move into communities, but once they're there, they experience things that encourage them to stay and continue to call it home. Our Park and Recreation Department is one of the primary reasons that people call Farmington home. And, my peers they hit all the great points, young to old, various types of programming. It's ongoing improvement. We do things really well. We're always finding new programs. We're finding ways to be better, to increase our touch points with our residents. And I only wish that more residents got involved. I wish more not only volunteered, offered community outreach opportunities to where they participate in events, but also to the enrollment. I always enjoy opening up the currents and seeing what's coming and what kind of class could I take? There's always something in there, and it's great to see. I've been a longtime resident of the community, and had the privilege to be a part of the planning for the last few years, and it's one of the things I look most forward to every year because there's always something going on, and I think that's the one thing that the average person in our community misses, is that there is a lot of programming, there are a lot of things to do, and it centers around Park and Rec. So from the bottom of my heart, I can't thank you enough. You guys are amazing. Thank you.
Thank you for your support.
Absolutely. moving on, we will go on to item, what is now known as 12.2, which is going to be our financial review for the quarter ending December 31st of 2022.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the council. Just a brief review of how 2022 ended. It ended very positively. General fund revenues ended the year at 102% of budget, while expenditures, including transfers, were slightly above 99% of budget. Year-end surplus was approximately $500,000. Reasons for the surplus: permit revenue exceeded budget by $86,000. Intergovernmental revenue exceeded budget by $312,000, and charges for services exceeded budget by $239,000. Moving on to the liquor operations, sales increased by 13.6% over the prior year. The operation met both of its financial benchmarks. Gross profit was at 25.98%, and profit as a percentage of sales was at 8.2%. And our goals are, our benchmarks are 25% and 6%. We also increased the cash balances in the community project pot and the capital improvement pot within the liquor fund based on those results and stuff like that. There was one, I guess I'll call it, wasn't a positive result, but each year we have to mark our investment portfolio to market. And this year was a significant negative adjustment for 2022. It was about 3.5 times greater than what it was last year. Last year we also had a negative amount, but it was more palatable. When I first calculated it, I was shocked. I called in my accountant and we both looked at it and we re-engineered it and we said, yeah, I think you did it right. I then called one of my brokers and said, this is what's happened, this is what I've got. Have you heard from any other cities? And he said, yes, we've heard from several cities. And he finally, we talked about it and he said one basic cause was that the Federal Reserve started to raise interest rates in January of 2022. And they continued to do that throughout 2022, and they raised the rates very quickly and very highly over that 12-month period. Basically, the result was that ladder portfolios, which is what Farmington has, where we have money coming in each month, could not keep up with the pace of this. And plus, the longer the investment went out, the greater the negative result was in this calculation. So basically, if you look in the financial statements or part of your packet, you'll see interest, and it says a little charge. You'll see negative numbers there for basically every fund. And this is what I call an unrealized loss. We're required to report this on our financial statements based on the Government Accounting Standards Board, but it's not a realized loss. If we were to sell our portfolio as of 12/31, then it would be a realized loss. But we hold, when we buy investments, we buy them to hold to maturity to fill the cash flow model that I have established. And so, yes, it looks bad in the financial statements, but like I said, it's an unrealized loss and we're required to do it. So that's pretty much all I had to talk about. If you have any further questions, any detailed questions, I can try to answer those for you.
Thank you, sir. Katie?
No questions, thank you. I know I touched on what you just touched on, so I appreciate you bringing that to council again. I'm still trying to wrap my head around it, but I do appreciate that you're available for questions.
No, it's not something I agree with, but I have to do it. So,
Yep.
Of course, there's a lot of things Gatsby does that I don't agree with. So,
Thank you, Chris.
thanks.
Steve?
Thank you, I'm good.
Nick?
I think I'm good. Thank you.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Ollie?
So, I mean, I have a question on the streetlights, but it's not applicable to what Chris is doing, so.
No, I'm good. Just a deep appreciation for the amount of time and effort that goes into the job that you do. I've said this before, numbers and I don't mix as well as pictures and I mix. So when I look at this, I have an understanding of the effort that is taken to bring this together, and then also to make it understandable for those of us that don't live in the numbers world. So thank you for that.
I have a great support staff too, so give them kudos also.
I don't have any questions, Chris. As always, I appreciate your due diligence and, digging in and just, helping not only staff, leadership team, but also my peers and I whenever the questions arise. And we're just receiving this. There's no action to be taken. Is that correct?
No.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Appreciate it. All right, we'll move on to City Council Roundtable. Holly, you can start.
Yay! It's been mentioned more than once tonight, but Farmington Currents. If residents somehow missed getting this in their mailbox, I would encourage you to come out to City Hall and pick one up, because there are so many unique and fun things that are going on all of the time in this community. And I think that's something that sometimes gets lost in the chatter that happens outside of the doors here and even sometimes on social media. But I would encourage you to take a look at that and find something, because there's definitely opportunities for families to get involved and to participate in community events. One of those events is Due Days. It is starting in 66 days. The countdown ticker is going, and so I would encourage residents to jump onto Facebook and look for the Farmington Due Days website, because, or the Farmington Due Days page, and then follow that to the website, because there are new events that are coming up. And specific to this weekend, the spring musical is starting. So if you follow high school theater at all, Little Shop of Horrors is the spring musical that they're doing, and the opening night is this Friday night, and they are doing Friday, Saturday, and a Sunday matinee, and then again next weekend, Friday, Saturday. And we have a special request, putting our police and fire department on the spot here. Friday night, April 28th, is a special night where we would like to offer discounted tickets to any police or fire to be able to come and see it. I don't know if that's something that you would normally do, but just know that it's out there, and I can get you the information on that. And then last but not least, I had a really good time at Celts last Thursday night. We had a lot of people that came out and did the tasting with the liquor store. Josh Solinger and his staff did a fantastic job, along with the Celt staff, of putting that on. I don't drink, but I had a great time. So I'm sure everybody that did drink had an even better time. And that's it.
Thank you. Nick?
Okay, thank you, and I'm not even gonna try and pronounce the names, but thank you to Watt Municitorum for the invite to the New Year Festival out there. I guess I told other people I thought I was special in getting the invite, but apparently it's open to the public, and I was just told afterwards. But if you ever get a chance to go out there, it's actually really neat grounds, a lot of art and culture to experience out there. It was a really fun day, even though it was cold and rainy and miserable. Same as you, thank you to Mr. Solinger for the invite to the tasting. It was a really good night. I think I kind of got stuck talking to two people, but it was an enjoyable talk for the whole time, so I enjoyed that. What was the other one I had written? So in the consent agenda tonight, we had a memorandum of acceptance on the opioid settlement. And, you know, in talking about what that means for counties and cities, you know, there's a lot of different ways that settlement will probably go. And in having discussions with some people I know about what's the best use of that money, you know, and it gets down to PSAs being one of the most effective forms of awareness and things of that sort to the drug markets. And I don't know if anyone's kind of follows along with that news, but recently the Biden administration declared a emerging threat of something called xylazine or tranq. And so my PSA is basically, don't get involved with this one. I mean, this is one that cannot be Narcan through. It's a permanent damage. There is nothing good about this thing. If you know of its existence, please help the people that you know are involved where you can. And I mean, don't be afraid to alert authorities on the existence of this kind of stuff. This is not something we want in Farmington. This is a terrible, terrible thing. And that's my way of a PSA is the best I can to that kind of thing, so.
Thank you. Holly?
Oh, I'm Katie. On the on the note of the Celts tasting, was very fun. I'll put my neighbor Wendy on the spot, because she was the employee of Josh's that was there, and she did a fantastic job. So she's here, and I know she wanted me to point it out, and that's why she's here. But also, once in a lifetime, my oldest daughter is here. I didn't even know she was coming, but you missed citizen comment, sweetie. That's what she came for, so sorry about that. But it's always fun to see people in attendance. Yeah, spring sports, we're not going to talk about Mother Nature because we'll just look at next week's forecast, and that's all we're going to focus on.
Did, though.
Anyway, that's all I have.
Steve?
All right, so like Holly mentioned, I was at the tasting last week, and, you know, like Holly, I don't consume alcoholic beverages either, and, you know, I told Josh earlier, I'm like, I had like 10 times more fun than I even expected to have, and I already expected to have a great time, so, you know, we joined the club and everything, and what a blast. I mean, it was just a blast. You know, I'm still smiling at what a great time it was. I did want to thank Peter, our IT pro, who just completed setting up a major technology that we approve, so thank you to him. Chief, you might know the answer. We've now passed winter parking rules, right? You can pretty much park wherever you want to, which is primarily the street in front of your residence.
I'm gonna dispute you wherever you want to.
Right, but I mean, in front of your residence, for example, without the fear of being ticketed, except for in scenarios where there might be road conditions which would prohibit a reasonable idea of parking in the street, correct?
Correct.
Okay, all right. And then it's possible the chief is gonna mention this, but you know, in the blink of an eye, life can change for anyone. And I would just say if you run across, and you know, the great thing about our police and fire teams, they are so out there in the community that it would almost be impossible to miss them. They are so community minded. But when you run across military personnel, our city police officers, our city firefighters, just express your appreciation for their service. And actually their families too. Both they and their families go through a lot. So that extra thank you to them, I think, goes a long way. That's all I have.
Thank you. Leah?
Great, yeah. A judge update for you all. The current Assistant County Attorney, Tori Stewart, who would appear in front of the judges that I was clerking for back in the day, has been appointed to the bench in Goodhue County in Red Wing, but we're all a part of the 1st District. So congrats to future Judge Tori Stewart.
Thank you. Lynn?
I too would like to thank Josh, Wendy, and Cindy for putting on a great event on Thursday. It was great meeting some residents that I haven't spoke to before. Very good conversation. And then also April 27th at 8:30, we'll start opening the doors for State of the City that the mayor will be presenting. And if you are interested in attending, that you can go to the Dakota County Chamber website and sign up, and anybody is welcome to sign up. So hope to see you there. Thanks.
Thank you. Julie?
I just want to formally welcome Shirley Wexler as our new city clerk.
Thank you.
Thank you. John?
Thank you, Mayor and City Council members. As indicated in your staff report, there is an event for Arbor Day at Evergreen Knoll Park, 10 to 10:30 a.m. on Wednesday, April 26th. So that's a public event if anybody wants to join in. Along the line of trees, you may recall that we had a significant snow event a couple of weeks ago. Heavy snow damaged a lot of trees. So I just wanted to update you. We've touched about 250 trees. Our public works staff working with a contractor, 8 of those had to be removed, and these were all safety concerns. Branches broken, trees split just from the weight of the snow. So they've been hard at work at that over the past couple of weeks. 4:30 p.m. tomorrow via Farmington Fix is the last opportunity to report any tree damage that you have in the public right-of-way that we'll come out and take care of. We have moved on from storm cleanup to hydrant flushing. That started today. We're on schedule. Day 2 will be tomorrow. It's about an 8 or 9 day process for hydrant flushing. Updates will be posted via the website. The Aiken Road bid opening is this week, and we also have a Spruce Street pre-construction 2023 pre-construction meeting occurring this week, so we'll have a much better idea of the contractor's schedule after that meeting.
Thank you. Kelly?
The public engagement phase for the Rambling River Park Master Plan started last week. So on the city's webpage under current news, there is a link to the survey about the park and also a social pinpoint map. So I would encourage residents and visitors alike to visit it. Fill out your comments before April 30th at www.farmingtonmn.gov. We will be having an open house in the park probably on Wednesday, May 31st. We'll get you that firm date as we get closer to the event. And then just want to welcome Anthony Barra. He was approved today as the newest arena and park maintenance worker. He will start tomorrow in a full-time capacity. So welcome, Anthony.
Thank you. Chris?
Kicked off the 2024 budget process today. So that's ongoing. We also have the capital improvement process ongoing and just a little cleanup stuff with the audit. I haven't heard from him lately, but I'm sure I will again. So, but that's about it.
Thank you. Chief?
I just want to thank everyone for the Easter egg hunt again. Even though there was a foot of snow on the ground, it just seemed like people kept coming and coming. So we partnership with the Dakota County Fairgrounds. They let us use the grounds for free. The Farmington ambassadors, volunteers from the school, our Relief Association, auxiliary, and our firefighters, and probably a lot more that I'm missing, but very good event. It went as smoothly as it could with a foot of snow on the ground and hundreds and hundreds of kids running after eggs. So thanks for everyone involved.
And we had, what, like 650 pounds of food, maybe more, right in there? It was a lot. It was a lot of food, so it's awesome.
Correct? To the food shelf?
To the food, correct.
Oh, okay.
Yep. Yeah, the event, if you want to add any more to that, but it's always a big drive for the Farmington Food Shelf, and we ended up with, I think it was 650 or 700 pounds of food donated, so a truck bed full. Chief?
Yeah, we are, speaking of big events, we're probably just over 1 month away from the police department's Police Week open house. We too will be collecting food for the food shelf, doing the Stuff the Squad thing again. But it's always a super fun event, weather permitting, of course. We'll have a bunch of bounce houses, hopefully a helicopter or two, some SWAT trucks, and of course everybody's favorite scene stealer, the K9 will be there. Draws the air out of every room he goes into. It's just how it goes, I guess. Right. But yeah, it'll be Saturday, May 20th from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. We'd love to see everybody come out.
Thank you, sir. Did Bethany want to?
No.
No? Okay. Let me see here. We'll start with Hiawatha Broadband. It won't be long here. I would say probably within the next few weeks, you're going to start to see a lot more. They're mobilizing across the community. Again, this is a company that has come in and over the next 24 months will provide fiber access and essentially to their goal is to meet 100% of the homes. So they're going to get into several of our parks. Free Wi-Fi access for our residents. But with that process, there's a little bit of a disturbance. You know, you will have utility markings. You're going to have, you know, the presence in some of your front yards. You'll see them in the roadways. But get comfortable with them and get used to them because they're going to be around for the next 2 years. There's a lot of fiber to be put in the ground throughout the community. But rest assured, when we get on the backside of this process, not only we have more competition in town, but we're going to have free Wi-Fi in our parks. As Holly mentioned, due days is fast approaching. That's June 22nd through the 25th. Mark your calendars now. The committee has worked hard to improve on last year's event. We had a huge draw last year, so we're looking for even more this year. But again, that's, you said 66 days.
66.
It's knocking on the door. It'll be here before we know it. And then, you know, this kind of segues into a little bit off of our Park and Rec because, you know, we had an employee who was mentioned, but also we have our Relay for Life event that will be held July 20th through the 21st at Bachman Middle School. And this year's event hits a little bit closer to home for the city of Farmington team. Anyone across the community and outside the city of Farmington is more than welcome to join. You're welcome to register your own team, set your own fundraising goal. All proceeds go to the American Cancer Society. And as a reference point, the Relay for Life and the American Cancer Society has 78% of every dollar gets donated back to either family support or research. So I believe they're a 4-star organization, but a lot of each dollar goes directly back to the families who are affected by it. So the City of Farmington's team, I personally will be walking for 24 hours this year. My goal is to go over 50 miles. But again, anyone is welcome. We do have, I think, 13 teams registered now and about 50 participants registered. So you can find information at Farmington Relay for Life on the Facebook page, through Instagram. There's multiple sources for it. But it'll be a great event for an unbelievable cause. And with that, we look for a motion to adjourn. Motion by Katie, second by Steve. All in favor, say aye. Aye. And we're adjourned at 7:50.